The qualification standards were so harsh making it through to the start lines. That was Merchkan, World University bronze medalist from Armenia, and Falele, the South African. This is Reynold Chariot, World Junior Champion, still only 19. The fifth fastest junior of all time. Abraham Gwem, flag bearer for South Sudan. Next to him, Nicholas Griggs, European Junior Champion over 3,000 metres a couple of years ago. The Irish have got some great athletes over middle distance this year. So have the Norwegians, the Olympic champion, the European record holder, the 2-mile world best. He's been unbeatable this year. Bartelsma, European indoor finalist, German who's lived in the States since the age of 2. Matti Ramsden, Oceanian champion a couple of years ago. Samuel Zeleki of Ethiopia, only 24, knocked out in the heats last year but made the semis in Tokyo. Josh Kerr, Olympic bronze medalist 2 years ago, always wears the shades and always delivers. There or thereabouts. He was 5th behind his compatriot in the final last year. Adel Michal, the Spanish champion and captain. And listen, how he beat Katir in the 1500 at the Spanish champs was absolutely brilliant. That's worth looking up on social media. Tom Elmer, 9 times a national champion, indoors and out for Switzerland. Charles Philibert Thibault, semi-finalist a couple of times in Beijing in 15 and in Rio. Emil Danielson, national champion over 5,000 metres. And Isaac Nadir on the outside, Ibero-American champion last year. 7th in Silesia, behind you-know-who, in pretty decent form. Cracking atmosphere tonight, beautiful conditions. Our first look at a man who is desperate to take the only global title missing from his collection. He feels the 1500 is his event. It almost was last year. But for that last 180-metre heroics from the man sitting next to me, who we will hear more from as the race unfolds. He's been flawless this season, but everybody expected him to win the indoor and outdoor 1500-metre titles last year, and he didn't. He's the defending champion in the 5,000. But I think it shows a huge amount about why he's desperate for this 1500-metre crown, that so far on the circuit we've seen all his efforts on his shorter distance of 3 3/4 laps. So top 6 will make it through to the semi-finals. What a night. Looks like we're ready for heat number 1 of the men's 1500 metres. Really is going to be very special, you get the feeling, over this 9 days. The morning session was great. 5 national records amongst those who finished 2nd to 6th in the race walk. What an opener. Now, Ingebritsen, his first steps towards the title. The first of 3 heats in the men's 1500 metres gets underway. The Olympic champion, one of the fastest men in history, 4th on the all-time list, has gone straight to the back as Reynold Chariot, the World Junior Champion and World Cross Country silver medalist from Bathurst, decides to make it an honest pace, with Falele of South Africa just tucked in behind him.
I saw an interview with Jakob in the week that said he assumes that everyone else in the race is stupid during the heats, therefore you've got to make sure you avoid stupid people doing stupid things, which I think was a very unfair quote. But as you can see, just biding his time in the messiest part of the race, probably the first 200, and yeah, he's taken closer order than I thought he probably would have done in this first lap, but there's many ways that he can run this heat, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
Well, Chariot just deciding to stay out of trouble at the front. And Falele, the South Africans had a pretty decent season, only 3rd in their national champs, but he was 2nd in Ostrava, African Championship silver medalist. But he now finds himself a little bit boxed in behind Elmer of Switzerland, who's now on his outside, all fairly tightly bunched. It's the South African leading now. Pretty steady here. Ingebritsen just in 3rd. Remember, it's only the top 6. Zeleke of Ethiopia no one's, such as the quality of what we've seen so far this season, Jake, no one's really talking about him because his PB's 3:32.
Yeah, it's moved
ridiculous
on.
this year.
Moved on. We've had one race with 8 people sub 3:30, so the standard of this event at the moment is ridiculous, and they're moving at not the quickest pace here, but it's still a decent enough nick to stretch it out, which is probably what a lot of the big names are looking for, just to avoid any sort of contact and reduce the risk of going down.
Well, if you are keen on the statistics of athletics, 23 men have run inside 3:32 this year. That is absolutely crazy. As Zaleke, who hasn't produced one of those times, just takes his place in third there behind Josh Kerr, the Olympic bronze medalist, Jakob Ingebritsen. Let's just take a moment to listen to the noise here. That's just, a three-way fall, and that is a nightmare. And I'm not sure that the other two will be able to carry on.
So it's Tom Elmer of Switzerland was one of the ones went down.
Yes, and the other athlete was Danielson, the national champion over 5,000 metres. They're jogging round together. That is such a shame. And that is why total focus and concentration is required. Coming round now with 300 metres to go. Remember, the times here are totally irrelevant. It's about the top 6. Ingebritsen, Kerr, good running by Nader of Portugal. Machal ran so well for that Spanish national title, but he's a little bit boxed in there with Nader just outside him. Chariot hanging on in 5th. Little bit of a gap opening up here. Philibert Thibutu is in 6th. It's the German Bartelsmeyer trying to close the gap. These 6 are having a look over their shoulder, and they're away and clear. Ingebritsen's barely out of breath. Good running from Josh Kerr. Chariot safely through, so too Machal, Nader, and very good running by the Canadian Philibert Thibutu coming home. The Canadians were delighted to get a man into the semi-finals of the 3,000 steeplechase earlier, and Elmer and Danielson jog home. I think they really hurt themselves. Elmer may have a touch or two of blood on his forehead. Not quite sure what happened there for those two, but at the front, business as usual. 3:33. I'm pretty sure it's the slowest time he's run all season, and he won't care one bit. Ingebritsen avoided the drama, and he's safely through to the semis.
Yeah, he looked good. I'd say him and Josh Kerr look very smooth there. Glad that the two that went down finished, because you've always got a chance to get them reinstated if they look back at that and feel as though you deserve to be reinstated because it wasn't your fault. So you've got to finish to allow that to happen, which is very important, but very in control from Jakob, as we expected.
And you could just see in the background, Tom Elmer was holding his forehead there. I don't think either of them were at fault, but great that they chose to finish the race, and you never know, they might get advanced. But I mean, Jakob, cruise control here. Machal was just looking round a couple of times to make absolutely certain that this 6 were away and clear. I don't know if we really learned much there, did we?
No, I don't think Philibert Thibutu realised how safe he was in 6th there, which I guess that's what's changed with the no small queues. You've got to make sure that if you're in 6th, you're going to do everything you possibly can to stay there and take no chances. But a lot of cards being held close to the chest. I think we expected probably these 6 on paper almost to go through, and that's what happened.
There's a little wave. And the noise when he hit the front with 5:50, 5:60 to go was incredible, considering it's just a heat. I think this atmosphere, Jake, is going to be incredible over the next 9 days. I think they're knowledgeable, they're passionate. The Hungarians are really going to deliver a perfect backdrop for these world-class athletes. Ingebritsen, Kerr, Chariot, Machal, Nader and Philibert Thibutu are safely through. Guam of South Sudan, rewarded with a PB 3:37 plus change. A real shame for Elmer and Danielson. We'll have to wait to see whether they might be advanced. Not sure on that one, but all credit to the two guys for getting up and successfully finishing their first heat.